everyone, welcome back to Venusianscorp Astrology and Tarot, where I talk about all things astrology and tarot. Today we are going to be talking about something quite interesting. We are going to be talking about Venus in Scorpio, the aspect, and how it manifests in masculine versus feminine energies, and what are the differences. So, what I mean by that is, how does this placement show itself or manifest itself in a man's chart and a woman's chart? How is it going to be different for them? So, when I say man and woman, I don't mean gender necessarily. I mean mostly the energy. What energy do you identify with? Do you identify more with the feminine energy or the masculine energy? So, you can take it how it resonates and apply it to you. Uh, as always, before I get started with the rest of the video, I do natal chart readings, I do synastry chart readings, and tarot and counseling. So if you'd like to get in touch with me for any of these, you can contact me on email. That's astroluck111@gmail.com. I've put the email ID on the screen, so you can check it out and you can contact me for a reading, and I'll get back to you soon. So let's get started. So, Venus in Scorpio, it's a bit of a complicated placement because Venus does really well in the signs of Libra and Taurus, which are Venus rules signs. But in the opposite sign of Scorpio, it doesn't do really well because Scorpio is a Martian sign. It's ruled by Mars and it's co ruled by Pluto. Both are quite assertive, quite aggressive almost, and they seek some kind of psychological domination. So, in a soft and sweet, planet like Venus, the sign of Scorpio doesn't do really well. It's not able to channel its energy really effectively. It always feels stifled. It always feels like it's too much. Now, whether it's a man's chart or a woman's chart. So again, like I said, disclaimer here: when I say man and woman, I don't mean gender. I mean the energies. So, what energy do you identify with? Do you identify with the masculine energy more or the feminine energy more? So, you can take it and apply it to your situation as it applies to you. So, regardless of gender, the Venus in Scorpio placement is going to show up uh, in three very common ways, whether that's a man or a woman's chart. So, the first thing is that whether you're a man or a woman, if you have a Venus in Scorpio placement, you are going to be a very passionate person. Uh, Venus in Scorpio people, they feel love and attraction very, very deeply. So for them, relationships is a very big deal. Relationships are a very big deal. They don't look at it frivolously. They don't take relationships lightly. And usually they view relationships as very all or nothing experiences, something that is meant to transform them for better or worse, but it is going to transform them because we have Pluto in the mix here. So Pluto is all about chaos and transformation, and usually that transformation happens through some kind of chaos because Pluto likes that. Pluto kind of thrives on that. So Venus and Scorpio people are going to look for relationships. Now, whether they do it actively or subconsciously, like mostly all of this happens at the subconscious level. It's not happening with full awareness, but they will seek out relationships that challenge them, that kind of transform them and forge them into a different version of themselves. So they're very passionate in this regard, and like I said, relationships are very all or nothing for them. The second thing that's common for a Venus in Scorpio, whether that's a man or a woman, is that they're very, very magnetic, they're very mysterious. Now, the thing about this is it's a very subconscious undercurrent that you're going to notice with Venus and Scorpio people in general. You will notice that they do have this aura of enigma around them. They like secrecy, they like depth in people, and they themselves possess a lot of that. Like I said in my previous video, what you see is typically not what you get with a Venus and Scorpio. It's very layered. These are very layered people. I suppose everybody is layered to some degree, but with the Venus and Scorpio, you're going to see much more depth. You really have to peel the layers back to be able to see the individual and who they really are, and even then, you may not really know the Venus and Scorpio fully. They're very magnetic and mysterious. So you usually they have an air of secrecy about them. There is a element of danger almost about them. You just sense it at the subconscious level that there's something dangerous about them, but it still kind of draws you in, kind of like a moth to a flame. Um, so that's something that's really common for most Venus and Scorpios in general, whether that's a man or a woman. The third thing is going to be that's common for them, whether that's a man or a woman, is that Venus and Scorpios want complete union. When it comes to relationships, like I said before, they don't like surface level relationships. Casual talk, small talk. It's okay to a degree. Like if it's somebody with a sun in Sagittarius or sun in Libra, they may still be able to do a little bit of that, but eventually they're going to want something meatier, something much more depth. They want an all complete union with the partner, and so that's why they don't like surface level relationships. They're going to want something deeper. They're going to want something that's more meaningful, more profound. Like I said, the more challenging and the more transformative it is, the more they're going to be drawn to that relationship. The fourth thing that's very, very common for Venus and Scorpios, whether it's a man or a woman, is that they're very loyal. And the undercurrent to that, or like you could say it's the shadow side, is that they can also be very possessive as a flip side to this. Because the thing with Venus and Scorpios is they are very loyal people. So they take relationships seriously. Their commitment is very profound. And because of that, it can cross over. It can cross over into obsession, jealousy, and sometimes even controlling behavior because they do have trust issues. And the fear of betrayal is very strong in Venus and Scorpios in general. So they do tend to be a little bit controlling sometimes, and they do tend to be a little bit possessive. But if you don't give them reason to be that way, then it's going to be fine. But I think to a certain degree, you can expect this to surface every now and then in the relationship. They are going to be possessive. That's for sure. Now, let's look at the differences between Venus and Scorpio in a man's chart and a woman's chart. Now, when a man has a Venus and Scorpio in their birth chart, the expression of Venus is going to be through the lens of traditional masculine roles or what society expects men to be like or function like in relationships. So it's going to be through that lens. So the energy of the Venus and Scorpio placement is going to be activated through this lens. So what does this look like? The focus of the relationship for a man with a Venus and Scorpio is going to be towards a woman who is quite magnetic, intense, and mysterious. So they do like women who embody these characteristics. Now, like I said, they may want someone who has a very strong presence about them. That's a big deal about a Venus and Scorpio man, is that they do tend to look for partners who have that very strong presence about themselves. um, they like partners who are, it's kind of a mix. They want someone who's very charismatic and has that enigmatic quality to them, but at the same time they also want someone who's very loyal, very committed. So they want a mix of both. And very often, what they struggle with is it's difficult for them to find someone who has both these qualities. The second thing that's very common with Venus and Scorpio men is that they can be very guarded emotionally. Now, the thing about it is, a lot of the time, society places a lot of pressure, and in terms of expressing emotions for men, like it's almost considered not very appropriate. Of course, things are changing, which I'm really glad about. But the thing is, a lot of the times, Venus and Scorpio men, because they have such intense feelings inside, it can be very difficult for them to express these openly. And so, a lot of the times, what you're going to find with the Venus and Scorpio man is that there's going to be a tendency to submerge their emotions quite a lot of the times. Like, you will not be able to see exactly what they're feeling. And this is why I see a lot of comments on my channel saying, this Venus and Scorpio person, they don't know what they're thinking. They don't know what the Venus and Scorpio man is feeling about them, because that's the thing. They don't really openly express their emotions. But you're going to see it through his actions. So usually it's going to come across through a lot of protective behavior. They may be very protective towards their partner. They will also want to create a very strong private bond with their partner, which is only for them. It's not for the public eye, it's not for public consumption, it's just between them and their partner. So these are some of the ways you can gauge their intensity and their feelings towards you. Like, if you like a Venus and Scorpio man, then this is one of the ways to gauge it. You will see it through his actions, because they struggle with verbally communicating it. They're very guarded emotionally, but you will see it in their actions. So that's how you'll know. Now, the third way in which this manifests in in a Venus and Scorpio man's chart is a tendency to be a little bit controlling. Now, some people may find this off-putting, but this is a trait that goes along with the Venus and Scorpio placement. Venus and Scorpio men, they want complete commitment from their partner. And if they're not getting it, then that's when you're going to see the controlling tendencies come out. Because again, the fear of betrayal, fear of loss is a very big theme for Venus and Scorpios in general. Like, regardless of gender, it's a very big theme. So, they do have a tendency to control the relationship and dominate the relationship because they want to ensure that their partner is loyal to them. So, if you're not the kind of person who appreciates that or likes that, then you should stay away from the Venus and Scorpio man, because this is not someone who takes relationships lightly, and they don't want you to take the relationship lightly either. So it's going to be a heavy, intense relationship. Not going to lie, it is going to be heavy. It's going to be intense. So you definitely want to make sure that you both are on the same page, because if you're the kind of person who's more lighthearted and you don't like heavy serious themes in the relationship, then this can be very off-putting for you. But if you like that, then this is going to be your thing. Like, you will definitely get along with the Venus and Scorpio man. So those are some of the ways in which the Venus and Scorpio placement expresses itself in a man's chart. In a woman's chart, it's going to be slightly different, because feminine energy is receptive, masculine energy is aggressive and outward. It's Martian, it has to go out there and express it outwardly. So that's why when it's a Venus and Scorpio placement in a woman's chart, it is more receptive. It's feminine energy. So the first thing you're going to notice about a Venus and Scorpio woman is that she does tend to have a magnetic presence. This is not going to be in the stereotypical way, the way like movies express it or music expresses it. It's going to be an undercurrent that you're going to feel through her. There is a powerful magnetism that Venus and Scorpio women have, and it tends to be very alluring. And it's not like an aggressive fire sign energy, which is going to be very in your face. This is more subtle. It's an undercurrent, but it's very alluring and it's very magnetic. So it definitely draws you in. And the thing about this is, even if the Venus and Scorpio woman is not conventionally attractive, although most of them are, even if the Venus and Scorpio woman is not conventionally attractive, you're still going to feel this power in her energy field. It's very mysterious, and it's very, very much a part of her personality, and it just draws the other people in. And sometimes this happens even when she's not actively trying. And usually that's when she's the most alluring, when she's not actively trying. Um, the second way it manifests, the Venus and Scorpio placement manifests in a woman's chart, is the emotional depth that she has. So, a Venus and Scorpio woman takes love and commitment very, very seriously. So, for her, it's almost like a life altering experience. It's a very transformative experience. So, she definitely does not take relationships lightly. Her intuition and her emotional receptivity, both of these abilities are very, very strong in the Venus and Scorpio woman. So, because of this, she's highly attuned to the fact that she can be very, very hurt in a relationship. If she's not careful with the kind of person that she chooses, she can be hurt very badly. So, which is why she's very, very careful about the kind of people that she allows in her life. The third thing you're going to notice about a Venus and Scorpio woman is that she's very cautious and she's also very selective. This is again a byproduct of the previous point that I mentioned. Now, because she's very intense in terms of her internal feelings, it's very, very intense. She can be very cautious about who she gets involved with, or she can be very, very skeptical about the kind of people that she gets involved with, because again, trust issues. Also, not just trust issues, but she just wants to make sure that the other person is on the same page and can actually get along with her and handle her energy, because for her, trust has to be earned, loyalty has to be earned. This is not a woman who's going to be impulsive with you. This is not someone who's going to just go with the flow and just um there's nothing casual about this woman, basically. So loyalty for her has to be earned, trust has to be earned. She does have very high standards when it comes to love relationships and things like that. and she wants complete devotion. Like I was saying in an earlier video, it's kind of like the Adam's family, Morticia and Gomez, their chemistry. It's kind of like that. She needs to be worshipped. She does have goddess energy, so she does like to be worshipped. That's basically what she's looking for. The next thing that you're going to notice about a Venus and Scorpio woman is the transformative aspect. Like, she goes through a lot of psychological and emotional transformations throughout her love life. And usually, relationships are the way that these take place. Basically, relationships are the catalyst that help her transform psychologically and emotionally. So, because of that, these are very life altering experiences for her. That's why she doesn't look at relationships casually. Um, it's a very big deal for a woman with Venus and Scorpio. Relationships are a very big deal. So she needs to be doubly sure that the other person is worth it, worth her time, and also if they're going to stick around. Because a lot of people can't handle this energy, to be honest. A lot of people can't handle the intensity of a Venus and Scorpio, regardless of gender. Both the men and women struggle with this placement quite a lot because of this aspect. It's an intense energy, it's a heavy energy, and if somebody cannot handle it, then it becomes a bit of a complication. So these are some of the ways that it manifests in a man's and woman's chart. It's slightly different. Some themes are similar, like I said before. Uh, the possessiveness and the mysterious element and things like that. Those are going to be there in a Venus and Scorpio, whether that's a man or a woman, or things like that. But generally, in a man's chart, they are going to be more controlling. When it comes to relationships, they're going to want to dominate the relationship and take the lead, which is fine. And in a woman's chart, it's going to be more receptive, more nurturing. So they have a lot of magnetism. They're going to draw you in with that allure. There's a lot of intensity with the Venus and Scorpio woman, and they also are very cautious and selective, because it's a form of self protection. They're not going to just allow anybody into their life. When it comes to a relationship, they're very selective about who they allow. So that's a little bit about Venus and Scorpio, masculine and feminine energies, and how this manifests. Like I said before, it's I just use the terms man and woman for ease of use, but it's regardless of the gender. Really, it's more the energy that you identify with. Like, you could be a masculine energy person who identifies with masculine energies, and you might be attracted to someone with masculine energy yourself. So in that case, you can just apply it as it resonates with you, and vice versa. So that's what I have for you today. If you like this reading, do give it a thumbs up. Your likes help my videos stay relevant in the YouTube algorithm. And yeah, if you'd like to book a reading with me, you can definitely drop me an email. The link is in the description box, and I'll get back to you soon. Thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.